Ellie's song existed in a world painted in muted grays. Her hair, a practical dark bob, often shielded her face, and her voice, when it dared to emerge, was a whisper easily swallowed by the hum of everyday life. In the bustling hallways of Northwood High, she was a blur in the background, a shadow against the locker-lined walls. Social events felt like a foreign language, and public speaking, a nightmare she'd rather face down a dragon than endure. But in the quiet sanctuary of her bedroom, bathed in the golden light filtering through drawn curtains, Ellie transformed. Her violin, a polished maple and spruce beauty named Melody, a secret, slightly embarrassing nickname only she knew, was an extension of her soul. Here, her fingers danced with a precision and passion that defied her timid exterior. The notes soared, wept, and celebrated, filling the air with a vibrant tapestry of sound. She could lose herself for hours, letting the music speak the words she couldn't. Her shyness wasn't just a personality trait. It was a cage, forged from years of crippling self-doubt and the lingering sting of a disastrous fifth-grade recital. She'd stumbled on stage, forgotten her notes, and fled in tears, a humiliating memory that had cemented her fear of being seen, of being judged. Social media, the very air her peers breathed, felt like another planet. She had an account, of course, mostly just for school announcements and liking Mina's endless stream of selfies. The thought of posting anything personal, let alone a video of herself playing, sent a cold shiver down her spine. The potential for ridicule, for comments, for eyes, it was too much. One rainy Saturday, huddled under a blanket, Ellie scrolled aimlessly through her feed. She stumbled upon a video, not of a violinist, but a painter. The artist, cloaked in shadow, was creating a breathtaking mural, their face obscured by a wide-brimmed hat. The caption simply read, "Art finds a way." The comments were a torrent of awe and admiration, not for the person, but for the art itself. A small, unfamiliar spark ignited within Ellie. Anonymity, a mask, a way to share her music without sharing herself. The idea, once a terrifying prospect, now pulsed with a hesitant, fragile promise. Could she send her music out into the world? A disembodied voice in the digital ether? The thought was terrifying and exhilarating all at once. The internal battle raged for days. Her fear screamed at her, reminding her of the fifth grade, of every time she'd wanted to speak in class but couldn't, of every time she'd felt invisible. But the music within her, bursting to be heard, whispered back. It argued for connection, for the pure joy of sharing. One evening, after hours of practice, a particularly poignant rendition of a classical piece still echoing in her room, she made a decision. Heart hammering against her ribs, she found an old, cheap tripod her dad used for family photos. Her phone's camera wasn't the best, its microphone likely worse, but it would have to do. She set it up, careful to position it so only her hands, the violin, and a cropped view of her chin were visible. Definitely no face. She needed a name, something that conveyed privacy, mystery, and her instrument. Melody Mask sounded a bit silly. Hidden Harmony was closer. Then it came to her, the silent string. It captured her quiet nature and the power of her music. With trembling fingers, she created a new account. No profile picture, just a default gray avatar. Her first recording was a mess of nerves. Her bow arm was stiff, her fingers fumbled. She played a short, melancholic Bach prelude. When she watched it back, she cringed. It wasn't perfect, not by a long shot. But she'd done it. The biggest hurdle was cleared. Taking a deep, shaky breath, she typed a simple caption. First attempt. Just sharing a bit of Bach. Then, with a click that felt like launching a rocket to the moon, she uploaded. The agonizing wait began. She checked her phone every 5 minutes. Then every minute. An hour passed. 2. A day. No likes. No comments. Nothing. A familiar wave of disappointment washed over her, heavy and cold. See? Her inner critic sneered. No one cares. You're not good enough. She almost deleted the account, almost gave up. But something held her back. A stubborn ember of hope, perhaps, fueled by the sheer love of the music itself. She loved playing even if no one else listened. She tried again the next day, playing a piece she felt more confident with, a vibrant Vivaldi concerto. This time, she focused less on the camera and more on the music, letting her passion guide her bow. Upload. Wait. This time, after a few hours, a notification flashed. One like, then another, and then a comment. Beautiful. Who is this? Keep sharing. Ellie's heart leaped. One person. One kind stranger. It was enough. It was more than enough. A warm flush spread through her, chasing away the chill of disappointment. Someone had listened. Someone had heard. Over the next few weeks, the silent string began to blossom. Ellie uploaded a new video every couple of days, meticulously choosing pieces that resonated with her. She played contemporary arrangements of pop songs, classical masterpieces, even a few original melodies that sprang from her heart. With each upload, comments poured in. Your tone is divine. I listen to this every morning. The emotion in your playing is incredible. Her followers grew steadily, 50, then 100, then 500. It was a dizzying, exhilarating ascent. Behind the mask of the silent string, Ellie found a courage she never knew she possessed. She started talking to her followers in the comments, replying to their questions about her technique, her inspirations, her chosen pieces. She discovered a vibrant, supportive community where her music was celebrated, not judged. This secret life became a thrilling counterpoint to her real one. At school, she was still Ellie's song, The Quiet Girl. But at home, she was the silent string, a growing online sensation. Sometimes, her best friend Mina, a whirlwind of energy and confidence, would chatter about the latest viral video, and occasionally, she'd bring up the silent string. Ellie, have you heard of the silent string? Mina asked one afternoon, scrolling through her phone. They're amazing. Their latest video, that take on Starlight Serenade. It's just transcendent. Everyone at school is talking about them. I wish I knew who it was. Ellie's stomach would clench, a mix of exhilaration and terror. She'd mumble something non-committal, her eyes fixed on her textbook, a silent scream of, "It's me!" trapped behind her lips. The disconnect was growing painful. Her anonymous self was soaring, but her real self was still grounded, still hesitant. Then came the announcement that sent a fresh wave of panic through Ellie. Northwood High's annual spring talent show. A tradition, a spectacle, a stage bathed in blinding lights and filled with hundreds of expectant eyes. Mina, of course, was ecstatic. You have to sign up, Ellie. Mina insisted, her eyes gleaming. Your violin playing is incredible. You could win. Ellie shook her head violently, the image of that fifth-grade stage flashing behind her eyes. No way, Mina. You know I can't. I can't. But why not? You're so good. Better than anyone else at school. Mina pressed, then paused, thinking. You know, the silent string would win this hands down. Their playing is just on another level. I wonder if they're from around here? What if they came to the show? Ellie felt a jolt. This was it. The moment her two worlds collided. Her online success felt hollow when confronted with her real-world fear. She was the silent string. She could win. But the thought of standing on that stage, exposed, vulnerable, made her physically ill. That night, alone in her room, Ellie opened the silent string account. She scrolled through the comments, reading the outpouring of love and encouragement. One new message caught her eye. It was from a verified account. Julian Vance, a renowned local music producer whose name Ellie recognized from classical radio. The silent string, your talent is truly exceptional. I've been following your work for weeks. Your interpretation and technical skill are remarkable. I'm hosting a small showcase next month for emerging artists, and I would be honored if you would consider performing live. Please contact me if you're interested. Ellie stared at the message, her breath caught in her throat. A live performance, an invitation, from Julian Vance. This wasn't just online validation. This was a professional opportunity. It was everything she'd quietly dreamed of, but always believed impossible. She clicked on her own videos, watching her anonymous hands glide across the strings, listening to the confident, emotive music that flowed from her violin. It was her. Every note, every emotion was undeniably Ellie's song. How could she reconcile the courageous artist online with the timid girl who couldn't even answer a question in class? The talent show sign-up sheet, ignored for days, lay crumpled in the bottom of her backpack. Julian Vance's invitation was a beacon, but the talent show felt like a necessary bridge. If she could conquer the fear of her school stage, maybe, just maybe, she could embrace the bigger opportunities. She thought about Mina, her unwavering belief. She thought about the Silent Strings followers, their eager encouragement. She thought about the music itself, yearning to be heard beyond the confines of her room and a phone screen. Taking a deep, shaky breath, Ellie smoothed out the sign-up sheet. Her hand still trembled as she picked up a pen, but this time, the tremor wasn't solely from fear. It was also from a burgeoning resolve. She wrote her name, Ellie Song, and beside it, in smaller letters, as if a quiet pledge to herself, the Silent String. The days leading up to the talent show were a blur of nervous rehearsals and escalating anxiety. Her stomach tied itself in knots. Every time she thought about the stage, the lights, the faces, a cold wave of panic washed over her. But then, she'd remember the comments, Julian Vance's message, the feeling of freedom when she played as the Silent String. She wasn't just playing for herself anymore. She was playing for all the timid dreams, for all the hidden voices, for the music itself. Finally, the night arrived. The school auditorium buzzed with an electric energy. Backstage, the air was thick with hairspray, nervous chatter, and the discordant sounds of various instruments tuning up. Ellie huddled in a corner, melody clutched tight, her heart thrumming a frantic rhythm against her ribs. Mina, seeing her distress, rushed over. "Ellie, you okay? You look like you're about to faint." "I am," Ellie whispered, her voice barely audible. "I can't do this, Mina. I just can't." Mina knelt beside her, her gaze steady and kind. "Yes, you can. You're Ellie Song and you're amazing. Remember all those videos you showed me of that one violinist? The Silent String? Your playing is just as good, if not better. You got this." She winked, completely oblivious to the truth. "Just pretend it's just you and Melody in your room." Ellie took a deep breath, picturing her room, the soft light, the absence of judging eyes. The stage manager called her name, her turn. As she walked onto the brightly lit stage, the spotlight felt like a physical weight, pressing down on her. The faces in the darkened auditorium blurred into an intimidating mass. Her hands felt clammy, her bow arms stiff. Doubt, a familiar, unwelcome guest, clawed at her throat. She closed her eyes for a fleeting second, picturing the default gray avatar of the Silent String. Then, she lifted Melody to her shoulder. The cool wood against her chin was a familiar comfort. She took another deep breath, letting it out slowly, and drew her bow across the strings. The first note was hesitant, fragile, but then something shifted. As the melody began to flow, a piece she had arranged herself, a haunting fusion of classical and contemporary, the fear began to recede. She wasn't Ellie Song anymore, the shy girl. She was the Silent String, the artist who poured her soul into every note, confident in her music, anonymous or not. Her fingers danced, fluid and precise. The music swelled, a passionate crescendo, then softened into a tender, melancholic hum. She played with every ounce of courage she had cultivated online, every whisper of encouragement from her anonymous followers. Her eyes, usually downcast, now lifted, scanning the audience, connecting through the music. She wasn't hiding. She was sharing. When the last note faded, the silence in the auditorium was absolute, profound. Then a single clap. Then another. And then a roaring wave of applause that crashed over her, warm and powerful. Ellie looked out, truly seeing the faces for the first time, her teachers, her peers, Mina, beaming with pride and astonishment. Mina was on her feet, cheering louder than anyone. A few rows back, Ellie spotted Mr. Vance, the music producer, giving her a slow, appreciative nod. Ellie wasn't sure if anyone had connected the dots, if anyone realized that the girl on stage was the silent string. But in that moment, it didn't matter. She had found her voice, not just through the strings of her violin, but within herself. The stage, once a symbol of her deepest fears, had become a platform for her truth. She still had her quiet moments. Her introverted nature wasn't erased overnight, but her fear no longer defined her. Ellie's song, The Quiet Girl, had found her courage, one anonymous video at a time, and stepped into the light. She still loved the silent string and the community she'd built, but now, she knew her music was meant to be seen and heard, not just hidden behind a screen. As she walked off stage, melody gently cradled in her arms. Ellie knew this was just the beginning of her song. That will be all for today. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button. Goodbye.